Working on a 2012 Chevy Malibu with a 2.4 liter engine. Customer complaint is a check engine light. No drivability concerns, just the light. So let me take you to the scan tool. And what we have is a P0013, P0014 exhaust cam position actuator solenoid control circuit and exhaust camshaft position system performance. Alright, sorry about the glare. I'm under component information for the camshaft phaser. Cam position, camshaft actuators use engine oil pressure to control intake and exhaust camshaft timing. Solenoids are ground side controlled by the PCM using a pulse width modulated signal. Cam timing is adjusted as the actuator is energized. A locking pin keeps the cam actuators in the parked position to avoid valve train noise upon engine startup. The park position is 0 degrees of camshaft actuation. The locking pin will release the actuator after the EOP is sufficient to overcome locking pin return spring pressure. The return springs are necessary to assist the cam actuators to return the park position due to rotational inertia of the valve train components upon engine shutdown. That's all good for the information. I just want to see that these are 2-pin solenoids. There's going to be low reference and then solenoid control. Gives you test location. So what I want to do is maybe start out by doing some bi-directional controls with the scan tool and see if we can control it. So right now, back to scanner, functional tests, cam actuator, solenoids, and then we have intake and exhaust. So that's what we're going to do. And so we have our intake cam solenoid right here and our exhaust cam solenoid right here. And what I'm going to do is bi-directionally control them with a scan tool. So we'll start with the intake. That is our known good that we can use. And I'm just going to toggle this on and off and see if we can hear a noise. I don't know if the scan tool's picking that up, but we do have control on the intake one. There is a nice click that we're getting. That tells me I have control. We're going to go to the exhaust solenoid, and this would be the one we're having the issue with. Do the same test. So right now I'm toggling back and forth, nothing. Alright, so I'm just back probed here in my exhaust cam solenoid. I am connected to the control side and what I'm reading. Alright, so I'm on this control wire to this exhaust cam solenoid, and what I'm getting is a 1.2 volts. So guided component test said that this was a ground side controlled solenoid from the PCM. I don't think that that is true. If I go to the other pin, so 0.02 on the other side. So what I want to do is I'm going to go on this control side and redo my test. I'm going to keep you focused here, and I'm just going to turn this exhaust solenoid on and off, and we're going to look at this voltage. So I'm going to turn it on. Turned on, we have 12 volts. Turn it off, 0 volts. Turn it on. This timer exceeded. So, well, right there, what that tells me that this is a power side switch solenoid, not a ground side switch solenoid. So let me go back to the test one more time. Okay, I try to get this glare out of the way as best as possible. Just going to toggle this exhaust cam solenoid back and forth, and we're voltmeters hooked up to our control side wire on the solenoid and to ground. So I'm I'm just going to turn it on and off. We're going to watch this voltage. Turned on, 12 volts, turned off, 0, turn on, 12 volts. And for some reason this thing times out very quickly. What that says is we do have control. We need to go to the other side, make sure that we are getting a good ground. We can redo the same test. So 0.03 on our ground, turning it on, turning it off, turning it on, never losing our ground. What that says to me is that we do have control. Let's see what voltage we have on this control wire again. 1.2 volts. And on my intake side, we have 0, but unplugging, I'm going to unplug the intake side, and I believe there is a bias voltage on here. So when I unplug the intake side, we get a 2.47 volts, about 2.5 volts. Plug it back in. Bias voltage disappears because of a voltage drop. Back to this exhaust side, we have this 1.35 volts, and I'm going to unplug this. And we have that 2.5 volts. So what that says is this, possibly this solenoid has some windings that are open, and it's not, you're not getting that voltage drop. And that tells me my wiring is good, which we knew from the control. But knowing this, all we really had to do was unplug it. So this vehicle needs an exhaust cam solenoid. Plug this back in real quick. 1.5 volts. So basically that is this bias voltage. So maybe partially open in this solenoid. So no control with our bidirectional controls. We have a voltage on here that is not being completely pulled down to ground through the solenoid. And we do have good control when using our bidirectional controls. So this vehicle needs an exhaust cam solenoid. So right here I have a solenoid we got. It was like 50 bucks from a parts store. Get it open here. I don't know who it's made by. Made in China though. This connector. And all I'm doing right now is just one small 10mm bolt. Just holds this thing in. Bolt. It might even just be harder to pull this thing out. No, not that bad. So here's the old one. A little bit of oil on there. Drop the new one down in there. So literally just sets right down in there. And get this 10mm started. This new one is actually not a 10mm, but I might be able to reuse the old one. And that's what I'm gonna do. So the new one looks smaller. It looks like an 8. Don't want to kill it. So new one's back in. Let's take some voltage readings and go from there. Okay, so the new one's in. Sorry about the glare. I have you focused on this voltage right here. I am on the control side, and to verify that, I'll just unplug this and we should see that 2.5 volts at bias voltage. So unplugged, there's our 2.5 volts. Plug back in. So that old solenoid partially open. Maybe something with the windings. And here I'll do the control test again. So I'll keep you focused on that voltage. I'm just going to toggle this on and off. Could actually hear it click there. So I'm just going to raise the RPM. I'm going to look at this exhaust cam command, and then we'll look at the angle and the desired angle. Just going to raise the RPM. I'll hold it 2500. So we have a 47% command from the computer, and our exhaust angle is 13. Desired is 13. Raise the RPM a little bit more. So desired 14, angles 14. I should have did this test before. I didn't even think to. But we're going to call that a fix. So faulty exhaust cam solenoid. So I hope you guys enjoy. Sorry about the glare again. It's very sunny out today. But thanks for watching.